Hi, this is Erin Harrison coming to you from Cloud Expo in New York City at the Javits Center, and I'm joined by Treb Ryan, who's the CEO of OpSource. Welcome, Treb.
Thanks, Erin.
So you guys were acquired by Dimension Data just about a year ago. How's it been going since the acquisition, since the merger?
It's been great. You know, Dimension Data is such a different company than we are. You know, we've always been focused on cloud and software as a service, and we're very good there. But we're pretty much a US-based company focused on really a smaller market in the software as a service world. And now we have Dimension Data, which is based in South Africa. All its business, only 17% of its business is in North America. And they've been able to deploy with us data centers all over the world and really help us focus on their key customers, which are the global 500 customer base.
We were talking earlier about some of the hurdles toward cloud adoption and compliance and regulations being part of that equation. So what are you, I think you spoke in a session yesterday, what did you guys talk about in terms of compliance, and what are some of the solutions that you guys provide?
Well, it's really interesting, you know, with Dimension Data's client base, obviously they're multinational companies based all over the world, and as much as we truly believe in the public cloud and its ability to be even more secure sometimes than what you can do on site and be a solution for everybody, there are certain compliance issues and data regulations, data sovereignty issues for different companies in different countries in different parts of the world. You know, if you're in Canada, you can't put your data in the US. I mean, that's a legislated law. Similar laws in Australia and other parts of the world. And latency is a real issue too. I mean, even with us being able to put data centers all over the world, if you're in country and you need to have quick access, you may not be able to use a public cloud provider that even for us in Africa, say Johannesburg, might have a slow connection to Tanzania, for example. So there's a real need for private cloud, as much as that was difficult for us to accept as a died and true. I've got tweets all over saying private cloud's not real and it's bad, and with the Dimension Data clients we've had to learn to deal with that reality. And we spoke about that yesterday because I think a lot of our problem with private cloud isn't private cloud per se, it's how it's been sold up to now. You know, it's really been a way for traditional hardware manufacturers and traditional software manufacturers to sell a lot of gear and a lot of software in big upfront sales to companies. Hey, I'm going to sell you $2 million of a block worth of gear and $2 million worth of software to run it, and it's going to take you 2 years to implement it. It may never get implemented. We see a lot of them still sitting on the shelf. We see shelfware in cloud all the time. And of course, that's antithetical to the cloud. I'm supposed to be able to get it right now, pay 4 cents an hour when I need it, and only pay for what I use, and get it SLA'd and make sure that if it doesn't work, I don't pay for it, and have APIs and all the things that people love about cloud they weren't getting in private cloud. And with Dimension Data, we've seen a way that we can now actually provide private cloud but still give people a lot of what they like in the public cloud.
So that's a pretty unique value proposition. How do you guys differentiate yourselves in what's becoming a pretty crowded marketplace?
Well, what we do is when we build a private cloud deployment, we build it for you. And we build an MCP just like I would for one of my public cloud nodes in Amsterdam or in Johannesburg. And I can put that either in one of my data centers or I can put it in your data center. And the next time you log into the Dimension Data Cloud, you'll start seeing not only our public cloud nodes, but a private cloud node that's just for you and that only you can see. So only your data will sit there, only your people will have access to it, nobody else in the world will. Now OpSource could have done that inside one of our own data centers. We had to write the software to make it possible, but we could have delivered that in our own data centers. What we couldn't do was put it in your data center. And of course that's where Dimension Data, who's always done on-site and has a very large data center services business, has been able to jump in. They can even build a node inside of your data center that looks just like one of the nodes that we run in our data center, but it's in your facility. So if you have a data sovereignty issue, for example, if you have government compliance, it has to be in a government data center, or you need to be in some part of the world that even one of our public facilities doesn't service well, you have issues with latency or customization, we can put that in almost any country in the world now, and you can pay for it just like you'd pay for public cloud, 4 cents a CPU hour, 2.5 cents a RAM hour, only pay for it once you start using it. You have to buy a little more, it's about 250 CPUs to buy one, but it's much more similar to how public cloud is, and because it's right next to the public cloud nodes, every time we update public cloud, you get updated, and if you want to move stuff back and forth between public and private cloud, it's just a matter of pointing where you want it to sit.
Another trend people are talking about at the show is big data. So how do you see people starting to leverage the cloud?
I love big data. I absolutely adore what people are doing with these web scale applications and how we can now solve problems that are not, in the past we couldn't solve. For us, even areas around analytics and monitoring of how people use cloud infrastructures, we now can see what every single person does. That said, this is the least understood phenomena in the world. I could guarantee you there aren't even 5 people at this show who truly could implement a big data solution.
Pretty much.
I mean, this is what we do for a living, and I don't have 5 guys who know how to do it. It is a technology that's so new and so complicated that everybody right now are focused on have to be focused on the technical issues. Everybody wants to talk about the great business benefits, but we still need to get the technical issues. Now that will change. There will start being tools to manage to do, this was the same problem with using, when we had our first interactive websites in the mid-90s, no one knew how to write to a SQL Server based type of website. Now everybody knows how to do it. You can go up and pick up Ruby and Rails or Visual Studio and do it in about 5 minutes. But it took 15 years for the tools and the knowledge to be developed to that point. We're that early on. There's 5 guys over at Google who understand this. Even Facebook doesn't use big data. They use MySQL because they know how to program to MySQL. And as that knowledge becomes more spread out, and of course as the tools to use it become more prevalent, you'll see it used to solve a lot of new problems. But right now it's still pretty much a technical issue.
So what's next for OpSource looking ahead?
You'll see us continue our global expansion. You're going to see us really focus from an OpSource brand though on our core markets, which are going to be, from OpSource you'll see us on software as a service companies, which is still a huge growth area for us, and for anybody who's buying online. You actually see a renewed effort for us to see online buying. It's been the biggest success in cloud. For public cloud, people like to buy it online. They like to click and go, and we're going to see a lot of that on OpSource. And of course with Dimension Data, you're going to be seeing a lot of the private cloud deployments and then the hybrid cloud where people are buying both from us and putting those in data centers all over the world.
And how's the response been so far at the show?
It's been great. For the first time here, we have a story for the enterprises. In the past, OpSource has always been so focused just on the software provider that we were more partners with people on the show. But now, for people who are enterprise clients who look to be in there, we have a set of solutions that we just couldn't have brought before, and that's been exciting for us.
Thank you, Treb. Great to see you again.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, take care.